channel. So for this week's video, I thought it was time to start adding in some makeup tutorials. So for this specific video, I thought the perfect place to start at would be showing you guys how to contour and highlight. And I'm going to make this completely beginner level, new to makeup. So before we get started, if you haven't already, make sure you go down below and you subscribe and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified whenever I come out with new videos. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Rebecca Christine Makeup, as well as Snapchat and Twitter at Rebecca Makeup 10. Alright you guys, let's jump into it. So when you are contouring and highlighting, you need to know about the products that you are using and whether they are cream and powders and the order of application of things. So when you are messing with creams and powders, you need to know that you always apply powders on top of creams and not the other way around. If you apply a cream on top of a powder, it will separate on your face, and that's when all the makeup looks like it's going to start running off your face, and it gives you a really bad look that day. There is one exception to the cream before powders application, and that is if you're using a highlighter that is a cream to powder finish. And the best example I have of that is the I Want Kandee luminizer. It comes in a cream stick, but if you feel it, it has a really powdery finish and it blends out and it just feels like a powder on your face. This is one that you can put on top of powders because it's not going to go anywhere. It loses its liquid consistency, and that's why it feels very powdery on your fingers and doesn't feel like a cream. So that is okay to apply because that's not going to go anywhere. So I have already primed and put foundation on my face. Now I'm going to go in and do some highlighting with concealer. This is the liquid concealer. I'm using the e.l.f. HD Lifting Concealer, and this is in the shade Bare. In all honesty, I should have grabbed the one shade that was lighter than this. This one actually blended in a little bit too much for my personal taste. But keep in mind, the way I'm showing you to apply it is what you're going to do. So you definitely want to make sure that if you're highlighting with concealer, it's going to be lighter than your foundation because you want it to look like it's brightening your face. So we're going to be putting this on the high points in the middle of our face to draw attention to the center of our face. When you are highlighting, you're going to make triangles underneath your eyes. Now, if you watch a lot of YouTube videos, or especially Kim Kardashian, because she's big on doing this, when she highlights under her eyes, she draws a line all the way out to the hairline. You don't need to do that. It's a waste of product. Your contouring and bronzing is going to cover it up anyway, so you don't need to go to the hairline. And plus, it's kind of canceling out the drawing attention to the center of your face if you are highlighting your entire face. So there's no need to do that. So what we are going to do is we're going to highlight from the inner corners of our eyes to the outer eyelid, and then we're going to make a triangle by going to the end of our nose with this. And then when you're doing your nose, you're going to basically make an exclamation point on your nose. You can have one line straight down the middle and a little circle on the tip of your nose. If you do one straight line, it's going to create the illusion that your nose is longer. It's going to just make the makeup look off. Like it's just, you're going to note, it's going to be very noticeable and it's not going to look right. So right on the tip and a line straight down the middle. And then when you are doing your chin and your forehead, you have to know the shape of your face first. If you have like a heart-shaped, square-shaped, or circle-shaped face, you can do a plus sign on your chin or big line on your forehead and curve it out over your eyebrows. That's fine, but if you have an oval-shaped face like me, we don't want to we don't want to make our faces look longer, so we're going to do smaller lines. So for the forehead, I'm going to do one small line down the middle and a curve on each side over your eyebrows, and then for your chin, I'm going to do 3 lines right underneath your bottom lip, like almost like you're outlining your lip, but in 3 lines. That's all you need to do with the highlighting with concealer. And now when you blend it out, you can use a blending brush, you can use a sponge, you can really use whatever works for you. But if you're using a blending sponge, there is a couple things you need to know. One is to moisten the sponge. Let it soak up with water, let it drain. You don't want it to be the point where if you squeeze it, water comes out, or if it's dripping wet. You just want it slightly moist. For one, it's going to make the application even. It's not going to cause any streakiness, and also If it's filled up with water, it's not soaking up quite as much product, so remember that. When you're actually blending it in, you want to tap it into the skin, or you can kind of roll it back and forth. And I will show you that in a second, but you don't want to rub back and forth, because if you have foundation or primer underneath, you're going to move those around, and that's where you get a streaky, uneven look to your makeup. To show you, you can tap it into the skin, or you can roll it, but do not rub it back and forth, especially if you have anything underneath it. You just want to push it into the skin and not move it around on top of the surface. Now this sponge that I'm using is the e.l.f. blending sponge. I got it for $6 at H-E-B, and I believe they also sell it at Ulta for about the same price. So it's definitely a lot cheaper than the Beauty Blender. It does not work quite as well, but if you're on a budget, this is definitely one that I would recommend. I actually like this one. It's better than the Real Technique one blending sponge I had gotten. So just if you're looking for a good sponge, I would recommend the e.l.f. one. And that is all you need to do with using the concealer to highlight. Okay, so now for setting your face. There's a couple different things you can use. There's pressed powders, and there is pressed banana powders, and then there is loose setting powders. I do have a pressed banana powder. This is a little bit more expensive. I just wanted to talk to you about this. These do have yellow undertones, so keep an eye on that. But they're great for brightening underneath the eye. And this specific one actually has different colored particles in there that will cancel out any redness or dark circles that are underneath your eyes. And this is the one I'm going to be using today, though. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder, and I really like this one because it is really silkening to the skin and is very affordable. I think it was like $5.49 at H-E-B. So basically what you're going to do is tap a little bit into the lid, not too much, and you just really want to set the spots on your face that get oily and that makeup seems to run off of. You don't need to set your entire face. Basically, if you're doing the right kind of skincare and priming your face underneath, you're not going to need to set your entire face, just the extra hold on the spots that get oily. And I will do another video on the proper skincare and foundation and primers, and I will do those in a separate video. And I'm not going to bake today, but I am going to talk to you about it. Baking, you can just go in with a sponge, put it on your face, and let it sit there for a minute. It's going to give you the extra hold so your makeup doesn't move. And those are really something that I do on special occasions. Like weddings or birthdays or something we're going to have a lot of pictures taken. That's really the only time that you need to bake. But I'm just doing a light makeup, something that you would do on an everyday basis. So you just tap the brush into the powder, tap off the extra, and you just go in on a spot that you get oily the most. For me, it's my forehead and my cheeks get the worst, and the middle of my nose. All you need to do with that. So now that we have our face set, I'm going to go in and contour my face. So keep in mind, if you have a cream contour stick, you do that before you set your face. If you want the extra deep line, you can use both powder and cream contours together. Just put the powder on top to set it, and it's going to give you the deeper line. On a normal day basis, that's not something you need to wear every single day, having it that dark. So you can go in with a contour brush, a sponge, whatever you have. I don't have a contour brush that I like. So you can really go in with whatever works for you. Personally, I use this concealer brush. It's got the shorter fibers and it's nice and thick, but it's got a little tiny tip, like it points at the top. So that gives me a nice straight line. And this holds just the right amount of product because it's just dense enough that it's just not going everywhere. Now for the contouring, I'm using the LA Colors I Love Makeup Contour Palette, and I love this because it's very affordable. It was like $6 at Dollar General, and it has a good amount of shades. Keep in mind, it doesn't go very well on the darker shades. It's the biggest downfall for me. Not all skin tones can use it because some might be too light for them. But for these, I know I'm only going to be using like this shade right here to contour with. But all these other shades, I can use these for like setting my eyes. I can use these as a brown eyeshadow. Like these are actually very useful even if you're not going to wear all of them. And contouring basically is you're just accentuating the mold of your face. I can make my cheekbones look higher, my nose look skinnier. I can create shadows with it on the outer of my face to help bring attention. I can hide any neck fat or double chin that I may have. So I'm just going to tap it in there. And when you're doing your cheekbones, there is an invisible line from the top of your ear to the corner of your mouth. You're going to follow that line, but you stop about halfway down. And I'm just going to draw the line down my cheekbone. Actually went too far. So just draw that line down your cheekbone. You're just creating shadows on your face is basically what you're doing. Make sure you do it on both sides. Do it on your hairline to make the shadows around the outer of your face to help draw attention to the middle. But do it like into the hairline because you don't want the line of foundation sticking out in between. It's going to make this look unnatural and people are going to be able to tell that it's unnatural. I'm in a twisted reality. And then to hide the neck fat and any extra double chin that you may have, just rub it down. We're just going to turn this into one big shadow and it's just going to make your jaw look like, you know, like you had a neck lift basically, without actually having a neck lift. So that's plus side of contouring is you can create these illusions without having to have the surgery to do it. My lips look fuller. I'm going to do a shadow with the contour right underneath my bottom lip. Not on the top though, because if you do it on the top, it can look like you have a mustache. So you just want to hide it on your bottom lip. Then I'm going to contour my nose. And you see I have the natural shadows right here. So I'm going to basically follow where the light hits it to where it shadows. And it's going to make my nose look like it's straighter. It's more lifted. You look more lifted. You just want to do a little contouring on the inner part of your nose right there. Create that into a shadow so it looks like your nose is lifted enough that it created a shadow. But make sure you don't cover up the highlight that we did. I used a brush. If you're using a contour brush, you can be blending this the whole time with it. But if you did it the way I did, just go in with your sponge and blend it in. When you're blending the cheekbone part in, make sure you blend it upward. Do not go down with it because it's going to make your cheeks look like they are sagging and it's going to ruin the illusion. Blend all of that straight into your hairline so you don't have that weird line. I'll grow back again. Oh, yeah, my roots are strong. Contouring. Now we're going to talk about bronzing. If you don't have a contour palette, you can contour with bronzer. Bronzer just gives you a more natural tan look. If you fake tan or if you went to the beach and your foundation doesn't quite match, you can use the bronzer to put on the outer of your face to darken it up and look more tan. It's not something you have to do on a normal basis, especially if you contour, because it's kind of doubling it up because it's putting darker shades on the outer of your face, basically. So, but I'm going to do it for the sake of this video to show you guys how to do it. I just grabbed a small brush. I like this one. It's tapered, so it kind of hugs your cheekbones a little bit with this, and it's not too dense of a brush, so it's not going to give me harsh lines. So I'm just tapping it in there and following that contour line. But for bronzer, I do also go all the way up to the forehead. I know I didn't with the contour, but if you are going to be tanned on your face, you know your forehead's going to be tan, so just think about it that way. You can cut me down, but blush. I am using the Wet n Wild Color Icon Ombre Blush. I like this one because it kind of gives me a hint of a coral color to my cheeks without the harsh amounts of reds and pinks that people see in their face. Like, I don't like the bright red and pink cheeks. It just doesn't look right on me. It makes me kind of look like I'm trying to dress up like a doll or something. It just doesn't look right. Keep in mind though, this one does kind of have a little bit of shimmer to it. So it's definitely maybe not everyone's taste for a blush, but for me, I like it. So I just go in with it. This is just a Makeup Essentials powder brush, and I'm tapping it in there, and I'm going right above that contour line we did before. It just kind of makes your cheeks look slightly more flushed. It adds a little bit of color to your face, especially after all the bronzing and the contouring that we did. It gives a little color back into your face. But that's all you really need to do with blush. On to highlighting. I have a couple different ones to show you. One being more drugstore and two being a little bit more, on the expensive side. And two of them are actually the I Want Candy collections. I have a small collection right now, so I'm just kind of showing you guys out of what I already own. The I Want Candy Luminizer comes in a cream stick with a cream to powder finish. So I can put this on top of all the powder. It's not going to go anywhere. But if you use this, you can just rub it onto your face. But I would recommend when you do under your eyebrows or your inner eyes that you are using a brush or put some on your finger because it is kind of a chubbier stick. The I Want Candy Eye Palette has the whipped cream color is a nice shimmery white shade that works really well for highlighting. The same thing, I would just go in with my finger. I'm not going to use that either though. But a lot of other eyeshadow palettes usually end up with some type of a white shimmery shade in there. They are meant for eyeshadows, but they work so good for highlighting. And then what I'm going to use is the Makeup Revolution. This is the Love the Revolution palette, and I'm going to use this highlighter in the middle. It's gorgeous. It's affordable, less than $10, but you do have to kind of search for it online because it's not something that Ulta sells in store anymore. What I do is I just use my finger because I feel like I can control where the highlight is better when I'm using the finger. Rubbing it on my finger, and I'm putting it under my brow bones. It's going to make my brows look like they are more lifted. And then kind of blending it out because I want a natural look and not to have it stand out where people can just see your highlight and be like, oh, you are wearing highlight. And then for your nose, right in the middle and down the line, just like we did earlier, but a slightly skinnier line in the middle though. And then don't forget your inner eyelid. You want to make your eyes just look more brighter. It's going to help you look more awake. And then your cheeks, just rub it on there. Like I said, I want it to look natural, so I don't want you to see it if you're looking directly at me unless there is a light hitting my face, like on my nose right now. But when I turn, I want you to just see like a glimmer from the highlights. So I want it to kind of look like my skin is naturally glowing. To finish making your lips look more fuller, we're going to highlight the tip right on the cupid's bow. It makes it, when your lips, if you're plumper, the light hits the tip of your lips, so it's going to make it look like there's a natural glow there. But since I don't have those plumper lips, I'm creating the illusion with the highlights that the light is hitting my lips in that same way. Makes your lips look like they are more fuller, more plumper, without actually having to have all the lip injections and surgery stuff. So now, I'm going to go in and finish the rest of my face, and I will get back to you and we will talk about setting sprays. Okay, and now that the rest of my face is finished, we are going to need to set my face. So there's a lot of different kinds of setting sprays you can use. e.l.f. has two different kinds. They have a regular setting spray and a mattifying setting spray for people like it extra oily and they need that extra hold. I know Smashbox has a good primer water, and it's also like a setting spray also, and I used it once before. I don't have the bottle anymore to show you, but that one worked really well. Kat Von D's Lacquer spray is amazing and works great, but those are expensive. The e.l.f. one is actually relatively cheap. I think it was like $6 or $8. So if you need a good drugstore one that is affordable, go for that one. I would recommend that one. The one I'm using today is actually the Caudalie Beauty Elixir, and I love this one. The benefits of this thing make it so much more worth it. This is actually like a 3-in-1. I can use this as a toner before I use my moisturizer, and it just takes off any redness and gives me a flawless look that day. I can use it as my setting spray. I can use it as a refresher spray throughout the day if I just need a little extra dewiness into my skin. You know, this is like $18. This is the mini version, and it's $18 at Sephora, and the full size is $40. But it is still something I live by this. I use it very, very sparingly. I've had it for like a month now, and I've only used this much. So I don't use this every day because I personally cannot afford to keep spending $18, $40 on one item. Now, keep in mind, if you're on a budget, but you want to save up for something nice, you know, I would recommend this before any of those other ones. This is my ride or die item. But all you do is just a couple sprays on your face, let it sit. This one has a great spray nozzle. It's very wide, so it hits a lot of your face at one time. So it only takes a couple sprays to do your whole face. Let it dry, and it's going to add a little extra gleam to your face, give you a nice dewy look. This holds your makeup so well, and I especially love this one because it has a toner in there. So I put it on top of makeup. Like, it just makes my makeup look that much more flawless. I mean, do you see like how good it just makes your makeup look? Like I said, ride or die item 100%. That is the finished look. If you guys liked it or you like this video, make sure you go down and you give me a thumbs up. And while you're down there, make sure you subscribe and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified every time I come out with a new video. Make sure you are following me on Facebook and Instagram at Rebecca Christie Makeup, as well as Snapchat and Twitter at Rebecca Makeup 10. And if there is anything that you guys want to see in any of my future videos, make sure you leave a comment down below so I know. I definitely want to keep this up to date of things that you guys are wanting to see. And make sure if you like it, share it with your friends that might also like it as well. And that is going to be it. I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.